Today's topic is adding three-digit numbers. We'll investigate and try a few different techniques that allow us to fully understand the addition of three-digit numbers. Let's begin with a fairly simple example. Let's add 634 to 251. We can see that this is a fairly simple algorithm. There is no regrouping. So you could just add the ones column, 4 plus 1 is 5. The tens column, 3 tens adding to 5 tens would be 8 tens, or the value of 80. And now the hundreds column, 6 hundreds adding to 2 hundreds would be 8 hundreds. Very easy, very obvious for you. However, one might find it necessary to expand these numbers to make easy addition. So now let's look at the hundreds column, and we see that we would add 600 to 200. In our tens column, it would be 3 tens or 30, adding to 5 tens or 50. And then in the ones column, 4 plus 1. Now we can add these numbers together. The ones column, 4 plus 1 is 5. 30 plus 50 is 80. And 600 plus 200 is 800. It's fairly simple to add these numbers together. And again, we would get 885. So that's our first example, and without regrouping, it is a fairly easy concept, and the operation is very easy for you. Let's challenge ourselves now. Let's try adding 428 to 356. What do you notice about this algorithm? I think you probably see that in the ones column, we have regrouping. So let's take it step by step, and we'll complete this problem easily. 8 plus 6 is 14. We know that we cannot put 14 in the ones column. So we put our 4 and we regroup the 10. Now we're ready to add our tens column. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. We have 8 tens in the tens column. Looking at our hundreds column, 4 plus 3 is 7, or 7 hundreds. We now have 7 hundreds. So our answer for 428 plus 356 is 784. Like before, let's expand the number to check our work. Starting with our hundreds column, we have 400, adding to 300. 2 tens, which has the value of 20, adding to 5 tens, which is 50. And then our ones column is 8 plus 6. We're ready to add in this expanded form. We can start at the hundreds or we can start at the ones. I prefer starting at the ones like you would a standard algorithm. So 8 plus 6 is 14. 20 plus 50 is 70. 400 plus 300 is 700. I add each of these groups together. 700 plus 70 would be 770. Looking at the ones column, I can add the 10 in. So 770 plus the 110 would be 780, and the 4 ones. Again, we have 784. So that's just another way that you can add the numbers in a simplistic form. You can check your answers that way. It just depends on you. Everybody sees the problems a little bit differently. Let's increase the challenge for our assignment today. Let's try 176 plus 254. First, analyze the numbers, the add-ins. You'll probably notice that we have a lot of regrouping to do. So this time, let's start with the expanded number. And we'll begin in the hundreds column. We have 100, which is the value of 100, adding to 2 hundreds, the value being 200. There are 7 tens, which have the value of 70, adding to 5 tens, which has the value of 50. There are 6 ones and 4 ones. We're ready to begin our adding. This time, let's add our hundreds first, because whether we add the hundreds first or the ones first, it won't make any difference in the end. So 100 plus 200 is 300. 70 plus 50 is 120. And 6 plus 4 is 10. We will add our hundreds, our tens, and our ones together. So 300 plus 120 would be 420, plus an additional 10 would be 430. The answer to our problem is 430. Let's check it with the standard algorithm. Starting in the ones column, 6 plus 4 is 10. Of course we can't write 10 in the ones column, so we put our 0 and regroup the 10. 1 plus 7 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. Again, we cannot put 13 in the tens column, so we put our 3 and regroup our 10 tens, which is the value of 100. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. When we check our answers, we see that 176 plus 254 equals 430. Whether we did the standard algorithm or the expanded form, the answer is still the same. The sum is 430. For our final example, we're going to try a different strategy. Let's start with the add-ins. 397 added to 529. You might notice that our first add-in is very close to 400. So if we just add 3, we will have the number 400. This is very easy to add to 529. 0 makes addition so easy. So looking at the problem, you can easily see that the answer now is 929. The only problem is we've added more than we're supposed to. So now I must subtract the amount that I added to make this problem so easy. So now I have to subtract off the 3 that I added to simplify this problem. So 9 minus 3 is 6. And then we have our 2 in the tens column and our 9 in the hundreds column. So the answer to 397 plus 529 is 926. Let's check the standard algorithm and be sure that we are absolutely correct. Looking at our ones column, we see 7 plus 9 is 16. We must put our 6 and regroup the 110. So our 110 plus 9 tens is 10 tens, plus the additional 2 tens would be 12 tens. So we put our 2 and regroup our 10 tens, which is the value of 100. 1 plus 3 is 4. We have 4 hundreds, plus the additional 5 hundreds would be 9 hundreds. So our answer is 926. The standard algorithm is a little bit more difficult than when we rounded up to 400 and then subtracted off the 3. Regardless, the answer is still 926. So if you can see a number that's close to 100 or a 10 and maybe want to round up, just remember to subtract off the number that you would need to. And in this case, it was this 3. We added 3, so we must subtract 3 if we do this rounding technique. It's up to you. With practice, it's easy, but you might not feel that you're ready for that yet. Today we use 3 different strategies for adding. We repeatedly use the standard algorithm, which is typical and most people associate with addition. To make the number addition easier, we also used expanded form. In this way, we use place value to find the answer for our addition. It makes the numbers much simpler to add. And finally, we made an easier problem. We used addition and added up to the nearest 100 to make the addition problem much easier. But in this form, we must also remember to subtract off the digit that we've added to make the problem simpler. So all of these strategies are very valuable, and each of them have a place in addition.